But we'll get to that eventually. But so that's going to be there for probably the next like minute or so. And so who's winning Worlds in 2022, Kelsey?
Who's winning Worlds in 2022? That's an excellent question.
And
Like
why
I
is it
said,
TSM?
why is it TSM? Oh gosh. That's one thing I haven't done at all is just kind of catch up on the VOD review for Kaido and Shani. So we'll see. I have to do that. That'll be fun.
I think it's gonna be good. As is known in this chat, I'm an OG TSM fan, so I'm excited for the new iteration. I know, yeah. I'm also a New York Jets fan, so I don't really, I don't really pick good teams to support when I want success.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It happens.
But can I convince you to be an EG fan?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about this whole evil business.
We're taking it back.
You're bringing it back? You're bringing it a rebranding, if you would? A rebranding?
We're taking it back. Like, have you seen the Dota things where they say, "Oh, that play was so evil" instead of so sick? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna.
Have they been saying that?
Yeah, they're trying to bring it back.
That is an interesting term. I don't know if that's gonna stick.
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna incriminate myself here.
Not at all. If anything, everything's evil. You're evil. I'm evil.
Exactly.
The chat is evil. And if EG want to sponsor me and give me money, then everything's evil. No bother whatsoever. Exactly. Well, we're coming back in. That's a hell of a lot of AD carry bans.
Yes. That is 480k bans. So OMG, we're playing a lot of Samira at group stage. For those of you who didn't watch the group stage, and having a lot of success with Abel on Samira. It's a very Abel style champ. I'm curious if we see things like Kaisa pop out for the fun of it. It got some buffs on this patch mostly because it was not
got
well.
nerfed into the ground.
But I've seen the Miramana Kaisa build. The Miramana AP Poke Kaisa is becoming pretty popular on the Korean servers, so I don't know. Maybe that's something that you try in a match like this, just because there are so many 80 carry bans. But probably we'll see like Jin, maybe some MF or something pop out. But I'd be curious to see where they go with this smorgasbord of marksman bans.
So. Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's a massive amount of marksman bans, and then immediately the junglers get picked up. It's like,
of course,
you have to pick up the junglers.
It's kind of the freebie pick though, because it's like you're not really giving anything away. It's like, oh, we're gonna trade Sin, Lee Sin, great, cool.
Yeah, pretty
every
much.
Every single draft does this.
It's nice. Like the Riot Balance team. It's just like, is Lee Sin broken? No, it is the pros who are wrong.
maybe we'll throw in a Viego if we're feeling ultra frisky. I like how they just pick up a blind Rakan when 80 carries are pinched. Seems great. Seems like that's exactly.
Could go Xayah here. Wouldn't be a terrible pick. Wouldn't be amazing, but or the Kaisa, like you said, yeah, locked and loaded. There you go.
I wonder if it will be the AP Kaisa. We'll see. Miramana poke AP Kaisa. If so, we'll see if they bring out some 80 champs in mid, maybe some lethal tempo Yasuo or something wild. Well, you never know.
Figure it out. They're pros. They know what they're doing. I hope. Unless we talk about items and then everyone starts to freak out about what's optimal and what's not. But the last few bans are going to be coming in. The big global mid laners being taken off the board. The Galio, the Twisted Fate. Pretty bog standard. It's impossible to ban out Doomby now. He has just got a champion Ocean. Steel, however, I would argue is actually had a pretty good time at the moment. So he's not been doing too badly in the regards of showing his champ pools. I actually think, despite Cream not being here, even though it should be pronounced creme because of the way it's spelled, but he pronounced it cream. It is Steel's doing a pretty decent job of holding up, giving OMG some pretty decent options, and his champ pool hasn't been pushed to its limit just yet.
He is playing, you know, the classic, should I say Cryan champs, you know,
Yes.
Malzahar, Galio, those types of, I'm going to sit mid and roam and or do whatever you need me to do, kind of.
Yeah.
Without, maybe I click like 2 different buttons the entire game other than my mouse buttons. Kind of. We are seeing the Corki come back. This is a blind Corki, which is really interesting. Um,
Yeah,
very
locked.
should be very punishable in lane, but have seen like a few Corgis this tournament, and they don't really get. We're not really seeing like the Syndras maximize the lane dominance, right?
Hmm.
In those types of situations, and Corki Jin was a very successful combination for them in the first game of the series. So they're just bringing it back.
Sorry, I just took a massive handful of chocolate-covered peanuts. So I could hear your point was ending, and I was like, oh god, quickly.
Oh no!
Let's get it through it. But that's going to be the Xin Zhao locked in there. So, oh, not the Xin Zhao, Jesus. The Jace locked in. And then LeBlanc going into that one there. So, honestly, this is more to what I expected to see from these guys compared to the last draft. The last draft was definitely a little bit more out there in terms of the picks, and this is more to what I expected with the meta being where it is.
So, based on what we learned from the previous 2 games, the comp with the longest range wins. So that's looking like LNG for me.
Yeah.
We did see OMG in the first game try to punish the Corki with the Zen Galio combo. This is similar, if like, more damage, more punishing. So if he does get caught, it's lights out. But it is. But their coordination on those like level 3 gank setups didn't really inspire confidence. We'll see if they get more of this particular game though, and if they're able to carry it through. If it is the AP Kaisa, it is more of a long range poke pick. But the rest of their comp screams all in. So she wants, if she goes like crown and engages, she'll have a shield. But that's not something that will be online for a while, and they have to rely on the Lisa LeBlanc to get them to that phase of the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very curious setup, and curious to see how it will all pan out for both these sides. Of course, for Duanbe and for Tarzan, the likes we'll be seeing plenty of roams coming out from this Corki Xin Zhao, looking to maybe affect that top side, get that Jace ahead, keep that Renekton behind, and we'll wait to see exactly how it all goes. The end of it all, it is still Demacia Championship. These are more, as I like to say, premium scrims, if you will, for a lot of these guys, just to try and get the ideas of where they are, how they're set up for the rest of the year. We're jumping straight onto the Rift. Boots start for the Jin 4-pot, so going with a little bit more sustain and looking to 100% keep himself away from the Rakan if he can, but they're already caught out for this. Why would you stay, Sanji? You saw the Leona. That was just so ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's like maybe if I don't move, they won't engage. They'll
Or
think that
maybe it was the world's
I left.
largest bait. And that's what it was, because everyone from OMG is here. They'll get the stun, the knock up, they'll even get the ethereal chains down as well. LeBlanc picks up first blood. Oh, LPL, never change.
OMG coming out with some fancy level 1s the past 2 games, getting nice advantages for themselves. Let's see, because they definitely need that first blood on LeBlanc is definitely going to do a lot for them as long as Steel can get it back to use that gold effectively. LeBlanc doesn't really get a lot of good backs on their own, so we're again pretty reliant on the level 3 gank timer. If they can make it happen, it's the most ideal.
Ideal. We'll see if they're able to do it. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised to see Aki go towards that mid lane, like you say, try and get a little cheater recall off for the LeBlanc. Starting off with the ethereal chains as well, felt like a little bit of overkill, but they felt like they had plenty of CC to stop the Leona from getting out, so sadly for Steel will not have great wave clear in the mid lane. We'll be relying pretty much solely on auto attacks. And yeah, it's going to be tough.
Also anticipating we'll see support roaming top pretty fast. Like the Rakan Kaisa lane, not going to be that effective in terms of wave clear early on versus Jin. So, pretty bold engagement. They are level 2.
Yeah, they get it, but you know you got to be careful. The turret will do an unholy amount of damage to you, especially only at level 2 at this early stage. So don't want to be going too aggressive.
Yeah, you know, these are professionals. Yeah, they know how many turret shots they can take unless
I'm
their
sure.
name is
I hope.
unless their name is Light and they happen to be coincidentally
Nice
nice,
double knockup.
nice. Coincidentally tanking 3 shots in a dive in mid that
All
probably
calculated. He is a
have
pro
worked out.
player after all. Yeah, it's going to be a curious one to see now how these supports are able to unlock themselves, if at all, as Shanji to go into Alu, but the Jace is going to pretty much have dominance over this lane until pretty much level 6, and even then I would still argue that unless there's an all-lane coming in, there's not really a lot you can do as the Renekton, as one small little chicken. No! He's so confused! Where does he go? He doesn't know, but he does know roughly where Tarzan is, so they actually know exactly where Tarzan is because of that. So I think a little bit of vision given to them. So Steel now going to go in with the Ethereal Chain, but Aki teleports underneath the tower, and that's just unfortunate. The one time you don't actually want the Q to follow.
Yeah, that was because that was both junglers knew when they had to be mid. That was really good back timer for LeBlanc. Like LeBlanc looking for a window to get back to lane there. So both of them appeared on that particular window, and now the result was unfortunately a kill for the Zizao and LeBlanc having to TP back to lane anyway. And the advantage that she should have had will, I think, more or less equalized at this point.
That felt unnecessary for that to go that far, but I digress. Also, to anyone wondering why we're not saying Ale, we're saying Alu, it is actually pronounced Alu. He has said so himself, so we are saying that from now on.
It's Allah, technically.
Allah.
Allah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm always going to ruin it because people ruin my name, and it's how I get my revenge. It's how I win in these situations. But speaking of winning in these situations, it doesn't look like Abel's going to be able to win in this one. He is ticking down the flash forward, gets the kill there. Light gets himself the kill. Now Cold nearly felt the cold embrace of death, but sadly for the side of LNG, we're not able to pick up that kill.
I think we're not going to get to figure out what kind of Kai'Sa this is, because we're not going to get to that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that point of the game is going to happen. I think what's going to happen here is that Light and Luomao, I'm actually so used to saying Light and Iwandi, but Light and Luomao are going to keep going ham on this. And honestly, there's not really a lot this Kai'Sa can do.
Yeah, basically she can prevent dives by using her Q to clear the wave so that the enemy team can't dive onto her. But if you're looking for a crash window here, and Luomao engages as an unkillable Leona, yeah, you're kind of in that position.
That stun lock, though, is just the Zenith Blade into the Deadly Flourish, into the Shield of Daybreak, and at that point it's like, yeah, I have cleanse, but like, what's the point? Like, there's no real reason for them to cleanse at that point. And Steel, seeing if they want to go a little bit, going in on this one. Cole does get the knock up to him, though. Has got a bit of support from Luomao. They go in underneath the turret. The shield of Daybreak. Aki, brother, come on. You know that's a bad idea. You know you shouldn't do that, and yet you did it. It's literally that meme of like, you don't understand, like, Sama, I landed my Q. I have to go in. Oh my lord.
As soon as he landed the gears, there's no way he does this again.
He can't keep doing this.
But it's that kind of tenacity and that willingness to make the big play that allows these LPL players to stand above the competition, though. So, you know,
you got to limit tests all year, you know. At the end of the day, we're the world champions. Level 6 has been hit. There's the dominance coming out, but Shanji needs to be very careful. Yep, I was gonna say he gets hit. Good flash. If he gets hit by the accelerated shock blast, he is just dead. Aki is there, but they know that Aki is here, and he's going to try and see if Ella can get himself out of here, because right now he's just caught between a rock and a hard place, but it should just be able to... Why would you stay? Get out of here. Get out of here. He's trying to see if he can go into this, but you got empowered you know,
Just drop
bar.
the wave.
Just drop the wave. Allah, no! Allah!
Okay.
No, he's dead.
It
I'm
wasn't
mad
even a
at him.
cannon wave, and Leona can back here and has a window to immediately help him when the next wave comes in. So I just short-sightedness of top laners.
Exasperated sighs. That being said, though, you know, Allah has been to the World Championship, and I have not in a pro player capacity. So, you know, what do I know? That's how I approach these things nowadays. I just take it as a, you know what, I'm not a pro.
But the way that you would have a conversation with him afterward would be to say, you know, your support, your bot lane just got the wave it. They have a robe timer, right? You can basically be freed from this position if you give one wave. It's not going. You're still going to scale very effectively as Jace and do a lot of poke damage.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to be able to beat Renekton 1v1 inside. There's not really a whole lot of downside to you dropping this wave here, right?
You either drop the wave and don't die, or you drop the wave and die. So, which one would you prefer?
one of those cases.
One of those situations, absolutely. And now, with the Rift Herald taken down, no real response here as Aki is back up into the top side. He really does love it up here. Making sure that this crocodile has a fun time, excuse me, oh my god. Chocolate covered peanuts coming back for revenge.
On the plus side, you know, we did not use the package, though the threat of the package arguably secured the Rift Herald. Right? So this is the mind games that are being played by the Corki here. I don't know. He burned the package. I had to say something.
I mean, yeah. I think he should have done it on the wave, and he would have gotten a cheekier recall off. But you know, it is what it is. And if you're wondering what patch it is 11.24. As it says in the bottom left corner at all times during in-game moments. And another in-game moment that we're going to talk about right now is a flash. Oh, kick it back into the bush. Tree. Oh, is the score. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. I've been up for a while. It's still early in Ireland. But yeah, we're now going to see the response coming out here for LNG. They're going to try and maybe work something out into this mid lane. Maybe try and catch out Steel or Cold. But flash for... Oh, I love it. Lumao psyched him out there. Walked back, flashes over, shield of Daybreak. And they're going to get this full mid tower, or at least a lot of the plates.
Lumao hearing me at the start of the series, questioning the decision of LNG to pick him up when Iwandi was one of their star performers, and definitely no hesitation on the trigger pull these games so far today from Lumao.
Really, really nicely done. And a good response there from LNG. They're keeping themselves in tow, if not a slightly ahead of the likes of OMG. And that's what you want to be seeing from them right now. There's a lot of effort and time being put into Sanji in that top side. So they're having responses. They're able to get themselves into positions that they can respond and not be falling further and further behind. And now Lumao, him and Cold, he'll know that, he won't know that Cold is there, but he will know that the Lee Sin is there now as he tries to and just run away from this one. No flash available to him. There's the quickness coming down, and that was a weird animation coming in. Exhaust goes down. They will take a little bit longer to kill him. Abel does pick up the kill on that one. Tarzan is coming in here, though, and there is no quickness or killer instinct here. No Dragon's Rage kick either. There's the TP coming in. Has to immediately stop the curtain call as everyone comes down here. They did have Doomby on the roam, so it wasn't a wasted TP from Steel. Just had to do it to defend his team.
Nice TP win. I don't think that they're going to... They shouldn't contest... Actually, they've taken... Cold is pretty low. They do have TP on Jace with wave priority here.
Oh, they're going to go straight in. Dragon did go over to the side of OMG, but the Rakan and the Lee Sin will pay for the sins of the jungler, as will the LeBlanc. Oh, dear Lord, it's 4 kills out of nowhere. Maybe they're looking for a little bit more. Abel running for his life. Flash on top. He gets the slowdown, the bring down, the hammer. And that's going to be the full ace. Yes, you get the dragon, but at what cost?
Yeah, definitely going to be happier with the ace than the dragon in this case. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that one. If you...
My critical brain is telling me that if it does get to a point of Elder Drake, you know, they'll be happier with the Drake. But taking tier 1 in the mid lane down, 5 kills, 402 Xin Zhao, plates in the bot side. I think OMG are alright.
Oh, so that is a shield bow Corki.
That is a shield bow Corki.
I'm not gonna judge. It is what it is. It is a shield bow Corki. It's definitely on brand for Doinby, so I will accept it.
He had it last game, or the last time he played it as well in game 1. So
Yep.
it just seems to be his preferred style of play. What would you prefer, Triforce? Crown.
I think, so I've liked the Miramon Ludens build. That's like kind of popular right now.
Well, is the shield bow going to do anything? No. So it didn't work out. Sorry, go on. You like the Miramon Ludens.
In his defense, it was a 4v1, so, you know, the shield bow's not going to do much in that game.
That is very fair. The shield bow is not going to do anything there. And Lumao, sadly, messed up the Hex Flash over the wall, so wasn't able to defend himself. So top tier 1 is going to be traded for bot tier 1, as LNG and OMG trade sides. But the only difference is that for some reason, LNG decided to give over 2 kills as well. So it is what it is.
LNG give over 2 kills, but the gold and the XP that they just got from the turret and the waves there are going to be split among 4 people, whereas Allah enjoying that solo gold from taking the turret completely on his own. So that is the trade-off there. I think a little bit better for the Jace. Probably going to be pretty strong in their next fight. So all of these advantages contributing to them not having to worry about that Elder fight because they will win the next Dragon fight. Ooh,
now, this is doing me. Oh, nice kick. Yeah, they just CC him up. So I actually thought about it. I was like, surely he has the package to get himself out. But no, he was just CC'd until he died.
Yep, just doomed.
Just doomed be. No, I'm sorry. I'm moving swiftly forward from that terrible attempt at a pun.
As the wave, no dive option.
No dive option. There is also Aki, Cold, Enable, and soon to be Steel as well. So a lot of different pressure being put down as LNG start to move forward towards this Rift Herald. This could be actually quite pivotal for them. If they're able to get this Rift Herald and accelerate the game just a little bit, it can mean a lot for their team. But looks like OMG are not willing to lift that one up. They have a ward there for the side of OMG, just giving them pretty much full vision and Cold on the flank. We've seen these recon flanks happen so often, but Allah, is very aware of this. He actually jumps out onto the blue buff, going to force the quickness out immediately. There's the solar flare coming down on the top of the Sanji, who's going into the Dominus. They're going to jump down on the Cold. Cold goes down. They actually lose the Dragon right now. Or excuse me, not the Dragon, the junglers. As both junglers do fall, it supports, and junglers dead. There's the curtain call coming out. Not going to hit any more shots. The 80 carries, the top laners and the mid laners will all back away.
Yeah, and a lot of these fights are going pretty even. So you have to imagine that when the Corki's online, it's going to be pretty workout overall strong for LNG. As long as the Kaisa is not really able to get on top of the Corki and assassinate, then this is a situation where there's the doorbell.
You go get your door. You do what you got to do. I will entertain chat and we'll come back to this and we will look at the replay now. And yeah, it was a great idea to try and stop. Cold actually tried to flash over the wall to get himself over it, but wasn't able to get it. And then you can see they almost get themselves a good engage. They almost get Allah over the wall to try and help, but it's effectively a 4v5 because, or 4v4. This can't really do much about it. Now they're back towards that Rift Herald, trying to see if they can take that one down and build themselves back up into this game. As everyone starts to really put down the pressure. This could be a pivotal moment. I do actually feel whoever wins this could take this series 3-1. And at the moment, nobody really feeling super ahead. It just feels like LNG are the ones with the momentum. But with the trade of the Dragon for the Rift Herald and the turret, it is going to be a slightly favorable trade for LNG. Now, looking at the items that are coming out, we actually see Shelly coming out immediately. They're trying to get this momentum, trying to push the acceleration gates as fast as they can. It is going to be a Cloud Rift, as we do see now Luamao trying to fight off with the tier 2 going down. And again, 2 towers for a dragon. You take that trade any day, and Kelsey, are you back?
Yeah, so
Woo!
2 dragons for someone took 2 towers and gave a dragon. I'm
Yep.
happy. That is always something that I'm gonna advocate for every single time. Happy and excited to return to such an exciting and happy decision. All right, excellent.
We did
So,
it.
nice. Looks like we're in a pretty strong position, but of course LNG will definitely want to make sure they're contesting the next dragon, even if it is a Cloud Soul. You know, we're not discriminatory against
No,
dragons.
absolutely not. We know everyone's value is separate. You know, the uniqueness is what makes them valuable. That's how we have to, look at it from the eyes of whoever we are.
So if I'm OMG right now, I definitely feel really, really, really cheated. So I'm just throwing that out there.
It's very fair. Very, very fair. Now OMG, they've kind of having to deal with a lot of different side pressure coming out here. Bot lane being pushed in, mid lane being pushed in as well. They were kind of caught a little bit with the rotations. The poke not quite landing just yet, though. Rockets and accelerated shock blast going left and right, and we might see a TP flank come in. There isn't a ward for the side of OMG with the Grenectin, though, so sadly, not going to get that. And Aki taken down to about half HP, as is Shanji. Not quite sure where they want to go for this one. Here's the curtain call. They're actually just going to try and keep peppering down these health bars. Maybe even force out the Mimic. There it is. And now that's just brute forcing this right now. OMG have no response.
Yeah, and then they use the package as a threat, more or less, to get in position. They ended up opening the curtain call. Just so much poke coming out of Allah with the gold that he's been able to communicate, but accumulate by split pushing this entire game, and clean turret take overall. Nice patience from LNG.
Very well done. And now you've got the Manamune on top of the shield bow for the Corki. Also building towards what I imagine is a rapid fire cannon. You've got the Eclipse with the Manamune almost finished up for Allah as well. So this game is starting to run away quite quickly from the side of OMG. They're not really going to be hitting as hard, and this Renekton is going to find it very difficult to get in front of people or even behind people if he's just walking in front of them.
Yeah, and it definitely is reliant on Flash to get into position on top of a champion like Jhin or Jace in particular, but they are going to be very, very far away, so need to be winning the sidelines really effectively, need to be able to have your jungle shadowing you so that Jace doesn't feel comfortable pushing up solo versus you. Anything along those lines will help you get into position for a flank for the next fight.
TP was committed there, as we can see Cole getting jumped on by Tarzan. See if he can get the knock up. One more auto attack would have done it, but not quite able to do it there. They're going to put down some shock blasts, and honestly, rinse, repeat. White chains, what's not broken? You can just do it again.
Just staring at each other in the middle of the long lane, and longer range wins. Just as tried and true throughout the series, that has been the law.
As foretold.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just, you got a full poke composition coming out. You can see Aki looking for a flank, but Doombe's wise to his tricks. He is going to find the Lee Sin now. Yep, gets full. I can just honestly engage on him completely. They're actually going to try and go for the little bit of a 1v1. He does get the Gore Drinker proc off, but can he survive? No, he can't. Tarzan! Didn't have enough faith in your mid laner, my dude. You needed to know that that kill was coming in without having to use your flash, so I like the idea from Aki. He had to do something, but it's just LNG just too smart for it.
And continue to accelerate the monster Corki. Basically, at this point, we're not getting a 21-minute close for LNG, but starting to feel like the game is over at 21 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to go for one last final engage as Cole goes in, misses absolutely everyone, and just gets dug into the ground. It was like a Super Mario hammer, just ba-doom, as we see the last shot's going to go in. Number 4 hits the mark, and that's going to be LNG backing up, taking themselves a dragon, then obviously going back and trying to take themselves a Baron as well. This game is 9,000 gold. This game is all but done, and this game is going to mean that LNG go into the next one if they continue on this trajectory 2-1 up.
Oh, well, it's not quite over yet. We do still have Kaisa has 2 items, so there's still an option for Kaisa to try to land a lucky W. drop the Corki out of the fight and then see if the rest of the team can clean up the remaining team members. But I honestly feel like the scary thing in this game isn't even the Corki at this point. It's definitely the Jace. All in
Yeah.
with so much threat and poke from these accelerated shock blasts. 3 items, 700 gold bounty on his head. Definitely with a huge amount of damage coming out.
It definitely feels a bit bad. Do you know what? Just a complete tangent. I actually know. I think I know what would make Cloud Soul a little bit better. If you gave it the same stats, but then if you got Soul, your ultimate didn't cost mana. You know, so like all of a sudden things like the big ultimates and stuff like that, they just don't cost you any mana, and it doesn't. It's not a big buff, but it's enough to like things the likes of Corki or something like that would be massive. LeBlanc maybe as well would be huge. So yeah, I don't know, little game dev ideas I have in my head every now and again.
I mean, it definitely would be a massive game changer for some things, for some abilities, but
Oh, I'm going to stop because here comes a lot of abilities as they all try and jump in. Shanji tops Dominus, but again, we talked about it. He's just, you can't walk in. You can't just go straight on it. And there's the red carpet coming down. Doonby picks up 2 out of nowhere. 3 for Doonby. Not going to be a pentakill this time around, but we'll give him 4. Nicely done. Quadra kill for the new man in the mid lane for LNG. And that's going to be the game. Not quite 22 minutes, but you know what? 24 and a half's just fine.
To use an LPL casterism, the mojo is back with LNG in this particular game. Though, to be a little bit more the mojo is definitely range. So
yeah,
it's
the
mojo
isn't actually mojo. The mojo, it's like it's like those things of like we're always happy. It's like you're not always happy. You just have a lot of money. It's there's a cause and an action or reaction, shall we say? As we're gonna quickly come into now, we're gonna swap back over to our lovely player cams. Our player cams. We're the players. We've always been the players.
Yes, of course.
I have won several world championships. Kelsey has won several MSIs. Between us, we have neither won either one, but we've taken the other from each other. That would be an amazing narrative if it existed. But we need more events.
Yes, your name is Doonby. I see.
Yes.
Okay, I've got it. This is
always the bridesmaid, never the bride for MSI.
Today I learned Doonby is Irish, so
yep.
okay.
In fairness, Ireland's one of those weird places where like Obama turned around and was just like, I'm Irish, and we were like, cool. No one checked. Like no one was just like, let me see your credentials. Who was in your family? We just kind of accepted it. We were like, cool. It's like we don't care. We don't care. Whatever. If you want to be Irish, awesome. We appreciate it. We appreciate that you want to be a part of our culture. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. 24 and 20 seconds. Pretty decent win for the side of LNG.
20,000 damage from the Corki. Typical Corki games, It's the champion is back. I'm excited.
I'm not
really. I do, like I said, I do kind of like the mini game mechanic of the package, right? Because it's if you've ever coached a team against a Corki during Corki meta, it's like, oh, we couldn't have contested Dragon. We couldn't have even gone to it because Corki had package. Like,
yeah.
Well, you can set up traps for the Corki. You can set up ganks on the Corki, get the Corki to burn package in other ways. And so the game becomes about how do you get Corki to waste package before the objective starts. And I think that aspect of the champion is kind of fun.
And then you get the other aspect of the champion, which is you can't get on him, you can't touch him. He's just a million miles away shooting rockets at your face with a ridiculous damage that, let's be real, is really confusing about how you're supposed to itemize against. It's like, is it magic resistance or armor? I don't know.
It's definitely magic resistance with some steel caps, perhaps. It's a good time. But The downside of Corki is definitely the three item mark. That's definitely the unfun part of Corki, but I feel like there's enough counterplay to make it doable. It just doesn't seem that counterplay has really kind of paid off in the games that we've seen him in this tournament. I think that there's a lot of efficiency in terms of how he's able to play, the amount of damage he's able to do in laning phase in certain matchups, even when he's against champions like Syndra that are supposed to punish him a lot in lane phase, or LeBlanc. We're just not seeing like the 2v2s come through. We're not seeing any of that. So, for example, they really, really desperately tried to dive this guy, right? Just couldn't work out.
That's why he took the Immortal Shield Bow. You try and dive him and get on top of him, he just survives and continues to do ridiculous amounts of damage. Except for that one time in top lane.
I wasn't aware that the another word for Immortal Shield Bow was Inting Lee Sin, but yes.
Yeah, no, it's the Irish pronunciation.
It's okay. Oh, but you know, we'll give Aki a slight pass here, and see if he bounces back in the next game. Hasn't had the best series, but that said, he also didn't spend game 2 as a useless Rek'Sai, so it's all worked out.
It's all perspective.
It balances out, you know.
Yeah, I will say I'm a little sad we haven't had we had a pentakill on day 1 of groups, and we haven't had a pentakill since, and I'm really sad.
We did get a quadra kill though.
We did. We had several. Did you see in the previous series the penta that got stolen by Gory?
Yes.
I've never been more tilted. I've never been more tilted in my life. He had no need. There was no need to do it. And I swear, I genuinely, like, the guys will say it, I audibly went, "You bitch." I was so mad. It just tilted me off the face of the earth. I would definitely have a verbal conversation, a very strict verbal conversation with him after that, if I was his teammate.
But if you're a Duinby, you can never be on the team with Gory unless one of you role swaps.
That's
true.
Luckily, which I wouldn't put out of the mind of someone like Duinby.
Yeah, he might be able to. I feel like he's the kind of player who, like, he was stubborn about his champ pool for so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he's the kind of player who will just want to play mid the way he plays mid, and doesn't feel the need to roll swap when he gets a little bit longer in the tooth, so to speak.
Stubborn, shall we say? Defiant, other synonyms. We got our man of the rift.
Yeah.
Speaking of him, we got Duinby.
Yeah, I feel like I still would have given that one to Ala. I think that he had definitely had the quadra kill the last game, was doing the damage when he needed to do the damage, didn't die to the mid lane ganks and dives, but let's be honest, even if he did die to some of those dives, Corki probably would have still been a relatively strong champion. It was, for me, the pressure of the shifting Jace and the amount of damage and the shock blasts that were being done probably, in my opinion, had more of an impact on this game.
Bigger number, better player.
Not gonna begrudge Duinby his Corki quadra kill and the big kind of package performances that he had. The 1v1 that he had versus Aki in the river, that was the highlights for sure. Anything along those lines worked well. We'll just not talk about the time when he got dove on top.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. Was that like his only death? I think it was. I can't remember. I've only just seen it, and I cannot remember his kill KDA. So it happens. It happens. But yeah, so for LNG, of course, they are now 2-1 up in the series. They will look to try and go on to match point. And I assume we're gonna have an incredibly quick break. And when we return, we're gonna have potentially, it could be the penultimate or ultimate game of the series. We'll see you then.